You are listening to Titletown Takes, your home for the latest and greatest in all things college and Boston sports.
Bobby Orr, behind the net to Sanderson, Orr! Bobby Orr! Scores and the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup! Orr!
Listen to hosts Ian Beauchesne, Connor Powell, and Cameron Urbowicz for plenty of fun, vibes, and most importantly, hot takes.
All right, so my final hot take to end the podcast for you guys.
Yep.
If I could start a draft and I had the first overall pick, I'm taking Bryce Harper 100 out of 100 times over Mike Taylor.
On today's show, we welcome former Merrimack Warrior and current captain of the Indy Fuel, Craig Wyszomirski, to talk about life in minor hockey, some travel stories, and reminiscing about his time at Merrimack. The fellas welcome friend of the show, Sean Kucharski, to talk about the NHL doing a 2014 playoff and what that will look like. Cameron's Corner, and finally, the most anticipated bag of fun question of the quarantine.
It's time for bag of fun question of the quarantine. Sean Kucharski, what do we got?
To listen, be sure to look us up on your favorite listening platform and follow us on Twitter at Titletown_takes.
All right, Titletown Takes is back on the air. Episode 25. It's our Nickelodeon episode, fellas.
Nice.
It's our Nickelodeon episode.
Yep. Depending on your
Yeah, on Comcast.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ian Beauchesne joined alongside, as always, my partners in crime, Cam Urbowicz and Connor Powell, and we got a fourth spot today on the pod. Welcome, great friend of the pod, and great buddy to have up in the press box and in your ear when you're down in the scorer's booth. Sean Kucharski, welcome to the pod. You guys have seen him on our NFL draft live stream a few weeks ago. He popped on and made an appearance. Sean, how we doing, bud? We'll check in with you first.
I'm doing great, boys. How are you?
You know, it's another day in paradise.
Goddamn right it is.
So we'll move right along because we got a lengthy interview coming your way today. We'll head over to Sean's left. We'll head over down to Chelmsford, see what's going on with Mr. Wickers. Cam, how we doing?
I'm doing all right. I got to unpack today. I moved out yesterday, so I got to unpack all that stuff today. Brought it in. Now you just got to go through all of it and figure out what needs to go where. It was wow, that was loud. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Nope.
Someone just blew by my house.
Okay.
It was a bit of a weird experience seeing the apartment completely empty, but that was fine and just ready to move on and see what else the future has in store for me.
Yeah, you can tell you moved out, Cameron, because look what you're wearing.
Yeah, I got all my jerseys off the wall.
Nice. Those are some sweet threads. Back to the old WCHA.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The third member of our group, Mr. Connor Powell. How we doing? What's up with the attire today? Did you wake up on the dangerous side of the bed?
Hey, man, I woke up feeling dangerous this morning, boys. And by dangerous in the quarantine means I had no other clean shirts. So this is the one I'm rocking today. I'm feeling good today, boys. Happy to be here. Good to see you guys back on the grind again. Episode 25. Cranking them out for the people at home. So
College shirt looks good. The hair looks good. The beard looks good. Connor's on a roll today.
The hair doesn't look good. That's why I'm wearing the hat.
Dude,
but
that flow coming out the back, though,
A little bit of lettuce.
it looks nice.
It's there.
It's getting there. That's what happens when you can't get a haircut for like 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I keep you guys around. Pump my tires a little bit.
A little bit? Sorry, I didn't know it was my job to pump your tires.
Oh, there we go. Good old-fashioned banter, baby.
Old-fashioned banner. Back to the 2011 Cup Final.
Ian, how are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm moving out today, fellas.
Good luck, because it's like 80 degrees outside.
I know. Shoot me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was pretty warm up there yesterday. I can't imagine what's going to
crank the AC in the apartment. As soon as you walk in, crank it until you leave.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Wow. That would just make Merrimack College pay for it one last time, huh?
Yeah, I mean.
You're not wrong.
Here's a $5,000 electricity bill on my way out.
Yeah, right. $5,000. I'm going to be there for like an hour.
Obviously, shut it off when you leave, though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, Merrimack's gotten bonus points for how they've handled this whole quarantine situation for us. So maybe shut it off on your way out.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, anyway, fellas, let's jump right into it and see what's new. The NHL is presenting an offer to the Players Association today as we record on Friday here. We're expected to hear, hopefully by the end of tonight at some point, whether or not the 24-team playoff format is going to get approval. It's interesting to take a look at how things have lined out, how it's been laid out or proposed, I guess. Bruce Cassidy was on record the other day saying that he hopes the Bruins don't get screwed over out of the number 1 seed. Because of all this, they were. I'm struggling here, fellas. Someone take it and run.
Okay. So, yeah.
All right.
Cameron,
Go ahead, Connor. All right. So Cassidy was on Touch and Rich, and he said, they asked how do you want the playoff format to go? He said, 16 teams, 8 aside. Let's just get out going. One of the big arguments about this whole format is, not everyone's played the same amount of games, which is, I understand, which is kind of reasonable. But, I mean, this is why points percentage exists.
No.
Just go off that.
Nope. No.
What do you mean, no?
Sean,
Points
what do you
percentage
mean?
is the biggest joke in the world.
What is?
Sean,
Points percentage.
Points percentage would put Winnipeg in.
No, it would keep them out.
No, it would put them in.
It would put them
Not
out.
by much. But
Cam, I already did the math. That's why I'm against point percentage.
I'm checking. I don't
Go ahead and
believe it.
check. Point percentage would take Winnipeg out.
Somebody take it. Well, the other team, I think Calgary would be in by 0.1 over Vancouver.
I think it's the Predators would get in over Winnipeg.
The Preds?
I believe
Preds have been in limbo like the past 2 years. Just absolutely.
Yeah, they went to the Cup final and then just said, okay, we're going to stop playing now.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Very
just
true.
so mediocre at this point. But, boys, I will bring up a point while we're looking up stuff. Do you think if the 12 seed for each side was not Chicago and Montreal, they would even be talking about this?
No.
I thought
Probably
same.
not.
If it was like, let's say, Minnesota and will Minnesota make the playoffs with 24 seeds?
Yeah, they would.
So what's another garbage team? Anaheim. Yeah, they're just out.
They're just out, Cam. If you do point percentage, look at Nashville and Vancouver.
Well, no. Wait a minute.
Dude, why the Jets are in that?
If you switch it to point percentage, because Nationals played 69 and Vancouver's played 69, they both have 78 points. The Jets have played 71 games at 80 points. 2 less games is going to push them above Winnipeg.
My bad, read it wrong. I'll admit defeat on that one.
There you go,
Thank you.
Wickers. Insert suck it Cam here.
Suck it, Cam.
I'll admit defeat on that one. Oh, yeah. Which one?
Oh,
Both of them.
but yeah, I think
Vancouver would be in over the Flames. That'd be.
If it was like Anaheim and
Florida,
yeah, like they're
nobody
not
would care.
gonna go. All right, we're not gonna get that much better ratings because of this. So let's just keep it what it is. It's a lot simpler that way. But since they're losing out on so much money because no fans and stuff, they are jumping at the opportunity. I'm sure that's the first thing Bettman thought was, all right, we have these huge markets that could potentially make the playoffs if we change the format because the regular season won't get finished. So let's do that and make more money because we need the money. And honestly, I can't blame the guy because the NHL needs the money. Of all the leagues, it needs.
Dude, it's all about TV viewership. That's all it is.
Yeah, TV. Well, the TV
contract's
contract's already guaranteed, so they're fine on that.
No. I'm saying eyes. You want as many big markets.
Yes, exactly.
In North America as you can get. I mean, if you're sitting here, right, in Connor, you brought it up. Chicago and Montreal.
Yep.
Chicago's not, a major hockey city compared to like Boston or, Detroit even.
Yeah.
as far as ratings go.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's playoff hockey and the Blackhawks are in the playoffs, especially if there's no baseball, you're going to get a lot of Cubs and White Sox fans just sitting around, twiddling their thumbs, looking at the wall. You know, the Cubs fans are probably listening to Go Cubs Go on repeat, reliving the glory days of 2018.
I said it when we brought up the MLB.
2016.
In 2016, sorry.
2018 was the Red Sox, buddy.
People need to take advantage of this time, right? Yeah. Like Korean baseball, their numbers are skyrocketing across the world because it's the only goddamn sport on. So the first American sport, I mean, NASCAR, I even watched NASCAR the other day because it was something to watch. So if you bring back one of the 4 major sports, your ratings are going to be incredible. So whether it's baseball, whose numbers are kind of going downward as the seasons go on.
Baseball's not coming back.
Not according to Sean.
Here's the thing about baseball is I don't know many people my age and our age who watch baseball besides Sean.
Okay.
And sometimes Connor. We watch playoff baseball. We don't go out of our way to watch it normally.
Baseball is such a sport
I'm not about to feel bad for all these millionaires and billionaires who aren't working. I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, they can bitch and moan about how, ooh, we don't want to play. Like, fine. Lose all your fans and lose your money and have your sport be left behind. Go ahead.
Sean, go ahead.
So, this is one where I semi-agree with Cam and I semi-don't.
Okay.
I agree with
That's normal.
I agree with you in the sense of, you're getting, like Bryce Harper, you're getting paid, what, a year? Like $45 million or something like that?
A lot.
Like, dude, like
$300 million contract.
10% of that is still way more than
Mike Trout's making $400 million.
So yeah, like I agree. Like if you're gonna complain about that money, get out of my face. But I see what they mean because in the 50-50 split, they don't keep a certain percentage. It's split among everybody. So Bryce Harper's $45 million goes down to like $5 million. If you split it among all the active players.
Oh no, he's making
I'm sure he'll live.
$5 million.
Poor baby.
Poor guy. I mean, I get it.
Exactly. Like as far as your contract goes, I see why they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're like worth. But as far as, hey, like I get if it's a safety risk, like the NHL wants to come back, they're more contact than you guys.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should just get to the talking table. Sit down. Don't let it be because of the money. Because if it's because of the money, you're going to lose the people like Cam said.
Baseball's all about money. Always has been.
I agree with that.
So, yeah. I was on a tangent before we got.
You were talking about the first American sport coming back.
Oh, yeah. First American sport that comes back is like TV ratings are going to be through the goddamn roof. Popularity is going to skyrocket because you're going to be that first league that comes back, and it's like I don't know what it's going to be. I haven't seen a lot from the NBA recently, but I think they're on track to come back relatively soon.
Walt Disney, baby.
And then I think it's NHL or it's NBA, and I think it's going to be NBA. And then NHL is going to be late July into August.
I think it's going to be NBA as well. Just because they were the first one to shut down during all this. So I think that they've, and like Sean said, we've heard them talk about how they're looking at Disney World, right, down in Florida to play.
Yep.
Kind of sick.
Kind of sick if you think about it. Yeah. If you're, looking for a spot and you want to ensure that your family can come.
Yeah, Disney World, no better spot.
Plenty of hotels at Disney World.
Yeah.
Plenty of hotels.
Start dishing out the costumes, Mickey Mouse.
Then they got to start. Then the teams are going to start fighting on who gets what hotel.
Yeah, right. I want the boardwalk. I want this. I want that. Yeah.
So is it time to insert a Sean Kucharski hot take?
Sure.
Always.
Oh wait, this is good for the intro.
You better be careful about this hot take, otherwise it's going to get plugged at the start of the show.
I'm taking NHL coming back before the NBA.
All right.
Okay.
That is hot.
I am saying that because the NBA, it's great. You have like your city or your place, whatever. You have that down. But after Rudy Gobert made a big joke about it, and then he got it and then infected his teammates or some of his teammates.
Thing I've ever seen.
I feel like the NBA is going to be really hesitant to come back, whereas opposed to the NHL, where it's like the NHL is like all the guys besides I think it was Matt Duchene for the Preds. I think he was the only one saying, I'm a little iffy on it. I don't know if I'm comfortable with coming back yet. But obviously I don't know. I just feel like Duchene's the leader, so is Gobert. The NBA is going to be more hesitant than the NHL because the NHL is like, hey, like we got it. Like we need this money. We got to go because they don't get the viewership that the NBA gets.
True.
So that's why I think NHL is going to be pushing to come back faster.
So I also want to bring this up before we send it to our interview, which we'll tease shortly. If the Bruins win this Stanley Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much less gratifying is it going to be to you guys?
No, it's going to be more.
More gratifying.
Less gratifying? Why?
It's a Stanley Cup, but two, you've been able to go on and win. It would mean that you are able to overcome all this shit that we've had to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, just put your season on hold and whatever momentum it was building right at a great time of the year, right as we started to turn into the middle of March, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were playing pretty well.
Right.
They had a tough stretch. They still had to do their California trip, which is great because I think they lose out on the California trip. Obviously, if they're going to come back, that's fine. But to go on and win, it would mean they overcome all this shit and then deal with all the madness that these playoffs are going to bring because these playoffs are going to be crazier than any other one that we've seen in NHL postseason history if it happens.
But my point is, specifically if a Boston team wins, either the NBA championship or the NHL Stanley Cup, there's going to be an asterisk next to it for sure.
Well, Connor,
no.
Connor, the asterisk will only go next to a team if I don't like if they win.
I
Like if
think
Montreal wins the cup, I'll be like, doesn't count.
Sounds like I'm listening to Spit and Chicklets all over again from yesterday because Alex Korn was on yesterday and Biz asked him, do you think there will be an asterisk next to this year's playoffs if and when it picks up? Killorn came out and said no because everybody was dealt the same hand. Nobody wanted this to happen. They all want to get back and play. They all want to crown a champ. And he went on to say that an asterisk only goes next to a team winning a championship if it's somebody that people don't like.
It's fair. Sean?
I think I agree with Connor and Ian that there should not be an asterisk on this one. But my one thing is if they do the 2014 system and it seemed like Montreal wins, you would have never gotten in the first place.
Yeah,
then I think you got to put the asterisk there.
Yeah, especially
they shouldn't have been in.
Especially with the setup, right? Say the Bruins.
If a team below a 16 seed wins,
right? If the Bruins were the number one seed, they get somehow in this new reseeding thing set,
and we finish fourth,
and lose in the first round, and then Montreal or like some crap team goes to win the cup. It's like, well, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
So it's all circumstances, and hopefully for the NHL, it works out.
All right, fellas, I think it's a perfect time to throw it over to our interview. We haven't dropped who we got today. We got former Merrimack College blue liner and current captain of the Indy Fuel in the ECHL and friend of Cooch over there, Craig Wyszomirski. Was nice enough to sit down and join us. We had a great conversation with him, fellas. This is one of the ones that's up at the top of the list out of the ones that we've done, and we hope everybody enjoys it. We'll be back with Cam's Corner and the Bag of Fun question of the quarantine after this here on Titletown Takes. All right. Today's guest is a 2016 graduate from Merrimack College. He's from Mahwah, New Jersey. Started his college career in Providence with the Friars, but left after only a season. He'd spend the 2012-13 season in the British Columbia Hockey League with the Surrey Eagles, where he posted 36 points in 54 games. He would then make his way to North Andover, where he would appear in 74 games for the Warriors, including his senior year where he helped lead the Warriors to a first-round victory over UNH in 3-game series. Following a second-round loss to Providence, he joined up with the Manchester Monarchs of the ECHL and would then split time between Manchester and out in California on loan with the Ontario Reign of the AHL. He has since been in Syracuse with the Crunch and Utica with the Comets in the A. This past season, he made 43 appearances with the Indy Fuel of the ECHL, posting 4 goals and 6 assists, while tallying 89 penalty minutes. It is our pleasure to welcome to the Titletown Takes podcast, Craig Wyszomirski. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, bro. Nice intro. Fucking perfect.
Hey, first time I haven't been shit on for an intro by somebody who's saying, oh, that was a long one. So screw you guys.
Good for you.
Well, all the coaches and stuff we have on are like he's rolling up back to like the 80s, and they're all like, oh, now I feel old. So we're a little younger generation now, so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, appreciate you finding some time. We know things are crazy right now. You were out and about putting your life in your own hands, as you said, at the grocery store. You know, it's like crazy times trying to just go there alone as it is. But no, like you said, we appreciate you coming on. And, let's start how you got involved in the game of hockey. I know everyone's got a different story, and we're interested to hear how you got involved in the game.
Yeah, well, obviously, first of all, thanks for having me. But yeah, it was, I think it was my dad. My dad had played, nothing crazy. He ended up starting he started the club team at Ramapo College, just a small college in New Jersey. And he was just a diehard. My grandpa was a diehard, both big Ranger guys. Hockey was always on. There was always, a stick and puck like around the house, all that stuff. And then it was my backyard neighbor had one of those like mini rinks. And I remember going over just being like, what is this? Like, and the next day or whatever, like once my dad saw I was kind of interested, I signed up for house league with the Mahwah Thunderbirds, and that was kind of it. Or actually, no, I think I also started skating lessons first, because he was like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Like, I want you to learn how to skate. And I took to skating fairly quickly. And then after that, I was right there with the Mahwah Thunderbirds house league. Couldn't lift the pucks. I remember I had these big like Coho Ranger gloves. I think they were like leather too, and like there was no reason to have those on, but that's like one of my earliest memories is just having these absolute mitts. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. It was really my dad and my backyard neighbor.
Played at Don Bosco as well. It's a big prep school down that way in New Jersey. I mean, what was it like playing there? I know they've come up to the North Andover area the last few years and played in a tournament with the Islanders of the USPHL and whatnot as like a showcase series. What was it like playing there for such a powerhouse in the prep school premier kind of program?
It was a blast, man. Like it was the school itself. They called it Donnie Daycare. Like you would go in and it was an all guys school, like, and just a bunch of savages rolling around. Like our football team, our football team was so good that they ended up putting them in that, like in the NCAA video game.
No way.
Yeah. Like that movie they made about the California team, like De La Salle, we ran over them. We ran over teams in Texas. Like it was cool. Like we had some unbelievable athletes at that school, but so like hockey wasn't the top dog, but we were kind of right there. But it was just a blast. I had my best friends that I grew up pretty much playing hockey with. We all kind of went over there. Yeah, and that was kind of like where we learned to, have fun with the game and like, kind of make it our own, get creative and stuff. And, the coaches there, Sean Foy, Greg Toscos, Pete Rosati, Andrew Steffi took care of me and just kind of like, gave me free reign to just go play, create. And it was a blast. I got nothing but the best memories of Don Bosco, that's for sure.
Now talk about your time in the BCHL. It's if I'm looking at this correct, it's your only time you played in Canada. I mean, other than professionally. How was that going from playing in America your whole career, going up there to, I mean, hockey's a different animal up in Canada. So how was that?
Yeah, it was bananas, kind of. Like, I don't know. It was a tough situation with Providence. Like, unfortunately, the coach that recruited me ended up getting fired. So it was kind of a mutual thing. It was just like, hey, I'll see myself out.
Yeah, right.
But, it was just like, it was what it was. But I only played 4 games at Providence. So I needed to kind of like fall off the face of the earth a little bit, like just get lost. And I wanted to just have fun playing again. Like, cause I kind of hated hockey at that point. And that year was everything and more. Like, that's all I wanted. And went out there, couple days into training camp, they slap a letter on my jersey to
not a big deal.
Just I think to pump my tires, give me a little confidence boost or something. And like, we were nasty. Like, we had Devon Tays from the Islanders.
Oh,
Brady Shaw, who's his dad coaches, I think, Columbus. Right now, he's assistant coach. He's nasty. Tambellini, along with a bunch of other guys who were just sick. So, like, we kind of ran the table. Ended up losing in the RBC Cup, but it was just so much fun. And, like, that – I was also 20, so, like, the drinking age was 20 out there too. So, like, all of us were pretty much 20. So, like, when you hear, like, Biz talk about I think he calls it the Mecca, like the Roxy.
Yeah.
Like, we would go downtown Sunday nights to country night, and you would just, like, it was during the lockout year too. So, like,
oh, man.
so we'd walk in, and, like, one time we walk in and Biz is right there. So I've got the cringiest story about that too.
Let it loose.
So it's country night. And I've got this stupid – they were handing out, like, straw hats at the door. So I've got this stupid, like, Corona, like, fake cowboy hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dressed like a cowboy kind of. I look like shit. I'm mangled, whatever. And this is big when – I don't know if you remember this, but, like, when Biz was big into, like, Sauce Hockey, like, he was that clothing company.
Oh, yeah.
So, like – it was like peak Biz too. So, like, he was just getting, like, super famous, and someone goes, hey, like, Biz is over there. And I, like, freak out. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Where? He's, like, right next to me. I almost, like, spill my drink on him. And he's just, like, looking at me. He's like, what's up, man? And he was, like, nice as they come. But I had 2 seconds to talk to him. And I was like, dude, I got a great idea for you. And he was like, oh, yeah, what is it? And I was like, you should make a Whiz Nasty shirt. And he looked at me,
man.
He's like, oh, yeah, we'll see if we can make it happen. And I was just like, I walked away. I was like, that was fucking stupid. Jesus.
You had your elevator pitch all ready to go, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's like
liquor got in the way.
Word vomit.
Yeah, I was like, just take me home. Like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be out in public. And then
I throw the Corona hat in the garbage.
Yeah, I was like, this is stupid. And then I walked in the back and saw Evander Kane just chilling in pajamas, like, at the bar. I was like, what's happening? But so, long story short, Surrey was, like, one of the best years of my life. It was so much fun.
Oh,
now let's fast forward. I mean, the next year, I mean, you're going from partying at the Roxy to chilling in North Andover, Massachusetts, at Merrimack College.
Augie's baby on Thursday night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk about, that kind of whole experience and playing under Coach Dennehy, and, that, how that helped your career just move one step forward.
Yeah, I mean, it I was kind of gambling being in Surrey, hoping to commit to another school. And luckily, Merrimack kind of found me, and Merrimack was on my radar just because I knew their defensive situation. I knew what they had, what they were losing. I wanted to be back in Hockey East because in my mind that was the best conference, like, for sure. That was the best league. No
Still
doubt.
is.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I will argue that till the day I die. Like, Hockey East, there are savages in that league. But yeah, so it was quick too. Like, they came and saw me, and then Christmas time I did a quick visit. No one was really there. It was just myself and Mark Dennehy, and kind of laid it out on the table. It was like, and I think I committed within like a week or so of that. And yeah, it was awesome. Like, you know, I loved the size of the school. That was perfect for me. Like the only thing I'll say is obviously I wish I could have produced a little bit more, but at the same time, you know, I was a guy who's trying to run people over and play the body and stuff. And
you knew your role.
Solid defensively. Yeah, we had guys that could score and stuff like that. And like we struggled a little bit here and there, but you know, it was, you know, Mark who kind of had me change to forward at one point because we just didn't have any bodies. Like we had so many forwards go down that he kind of like one practice was like, hey, like have a D-man like jump up and take a rep as forward. And it was a drill where basically you just chip the puck in and like forecheck. And I think I like chipped it in and like ran 2 guys over. So kind of saw him like look at me and I was like, oh. And then he pulled me in his office. He was like, hey, any chance you would want to play forward? Like we don't have any bodies. I was like, man, to be in the lineup, like I'll play goalie. I don't give a shit. So one thing led to another. And I like attribute a lot of my success in pro hockey to that like year and a half where I played forward because I understood the game. I knew what guys were thinking, where to be, where guys were going to be. And like to this day, like I still have a group chat with like Brian Christie, Justin Husser, Vinny Scotti, Joey Pants, and Matt Cronin. Like we're all boys. Like to this day, all our wives and girlfriends have a group chat, and they're all friends. And like I obviously met my wife at Merrimack, and like I loved it. I loved every second of Merrimack. Like I miss it every day. I miss the quad. I miss the calf, Sparkies, all that.
Yeah. You miss Sparkies?
Dude, I know. Isn't that crazy? Like, I'll tell you what, though. When you stop playing and you gain a little weight, you wish you had Sparkies to clear that shit out of you.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you what, though, right now, fellas. I mean,
no
with
kidding.
all the shit that's going on, I kind of wish I had the opportunity to go back to Sparkies one more time. Just, you know.
Yeah.
Like, remember just sitting in Sparkies? Like,
that was the best part.
Shift,
yeah.
Like, and just people watching. That was like
That's
your
what it was all about.
bowl of cereal. Like, you're like, all right, I got to get up.
I got to get out of here.
I got to get out of here before they need to roll me out.
Yeah. Man, I miss it. We talk about, like, our group chat. We talk about that every day. Like, if we hear a good song or something, we're like, oh, imagine the song in the quad right now, spring weekend.
Well, it's funny you say that. This past weekend was supposed to be spring weekend.
Yeah, it was supposed to be our spring weekend.
It would have been our last one.
We got to do something. Like, we just got to go back, like, sometime during summer when this.
Rip it up, baby.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I know about 6 other dudes that are down, too.
Just all the old grads.
I'm sure there are a bunch. Take us through some of the guys that you mentioned, you know, your boys that you're in a group chat with now. Who are some of the other characters that you got a chance to hang out with in the locker room? And who are some of the glue guys that kind of kept the mood light in the locker room? Or, you know, maybe you had a bad practice or you're coming off a bad weekend, or who are some of the guys that kind of kept it funny and loose and allowed you guys to just realize, you know, yeah, we're playing and we want to win, but this is still college hockey and we're still young kids?
Without a doubt, Sean Robertson, Robo, like just crazy Canadian from Cobble Hill in British Columbia, like off his rocker. Just like the amount, like I don't even know how to describe him. Like he was just the most lighthearted, like hilarious, like had the best one-liners, but like his impressions, his movie quotes, like everything, like just fucking. Some of these times, like you got to lean over and be like, "Bro, shut the fuck up." Like, he's like the most lighthearted guy. He like always cracking jokes, and then like I loved our like group of friends, and I don't know what it is, but every time like the freshman class would come in, like they would just do some of the dumbest shit where you're just like, these guys are so fucking helpless. Like where they just honestly have no idea why, like what they did is bad, but it's just pure entertainment where you're like, all right, it's kind of bigger than hockey. It's just these are good guys. Like,
talk about, you know, you spend your 4 years or your 3 years at Merrimack, then you graduate. And then was it pretty much right after the Merrimack season ended, you went to the E?
Yeah, so I got kind of lucky because my agent I had him I wasn't going to do a spring stint. I was kind of shot. I was a little banged up from the season and stuff. And then he was like, hey, Manchester is looking for sort of like a utility guy, like forward defenseman. Like they kind of need both. I was like, all right, like 30, 40 minutes away. Like I'll go, I'll try it out. And I ended up staying. I made the playoff roster, and it was kind of the best scenario because I made a good impression, played well, like got to play in playoffs and all that, and then we lost in the first round, so I got to miss 0 time of like spring and spring weekend and all that shit and like the graduation week. So that was cool, but yeah. And then the coach there is probably Rich Seeley, one of my favorite coaches to this day, because he was just a straight shooter, like no bullshit, unbelievable, awkward as they come, but just an unreal guy. So it was a blast, yeah. Just straight out of Merrimack right to match.
It's, we had Aaron Titt come on the other day, like I mentioned before we started recording here, and he told a story about when he played. I think it was in North or South Dakota.
They were in South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota.
And they used a cattle bus as their sleeper bus to go from hotel to game or whatever. Do you have any crazy travel stories in minor league hockey? Because there's some pretty whack places to play.
Oh my God, how much time do we have? Yeah,
we got all day, man.
Oh yeah, dude, I got a story. So we were in Wheeling, West Virginia, and we're
beautiful place.
Beautiful this time. It looks like a Call of Duty map. So we're staying at this like, I don't know, it's like a golf course, like resort type. It's a weird spot. It's like a bunch of cabins and shit. So the bus that took us there wasn't taking us back and forth to the rink, and the rink was like 5 miles away. So what we did was we hired a trolley to take us back and forth. And it's the middle of fucking December, and we're in Wheeling, West Virginia in a trolley. And there's no heat. There's no, like, the doors barely closed. Like, we've got all our, like, gear and luggage and shit on this trolley. And we're all packed up because we're leaving that day. This fucking thing breaks down.
Oh.
0.97, and I only know that because I Google mapped it from where we were because we need directions to the rink, from the fucking rink. So we're like assholes. We got our bags, our sticks, our fucking luggage. Like, we're walking a mile. So we're just like, we get to the locker room, and like, I don't think anybody put their warm-up shit on until it was like 10 minutes before the game. Because guys were shot. That's like one of many stories. There was like one time we were driving on a bus. We thought we all had carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oof.
Yeah.
Did you guys win that game down in Wheeling?
I think we won, and I think I fought that game, and I remember like signaling to our trainer that I needed oxygen because I was shot.
Legs were gone by the end of the first.
Everything was gone, and nothing showed up. Like,
oh man.
So Wiz, I just got the job this year. I'm the PA guy at Lawler now for hockey. So obviously one of the jobs there is it includes pronunciations and making sure you're good with names. Looking at your name from the start, it's one of those. All right, how do you pronounce it? Because there's the SZ. Everybody likes their name pronounced a different way. My name probably looks nothing like you would think you would pronounce it. What's the worst you have ever heard your name butchered by a public address announcer?
That's easy. So it's Wyszomirski or Wyszomirski. Like if you get to that point, like my hat's off. Like I'm not splitting hairs, but one time, so I've got two quick ones, but one time an announcer basically just fell off, like saying it. He just kind of said like, goal scored by Craig, and like didn't finish. He just like started it and like tailed off. And then I actually, kind of funny, this July, it wasn't funny then, it's funny now. When I got married, my wife and I were at the altar, And her name's Marissa, and obviously I'm Craig, and he called us Melissa and Greg.
Oh.
And then he was like, and then I'm like there at the altar as he's talking. He's like, we're gathered here to join Melissa and Greg, and he keeps saying it. So finally, I was just like, shh, Father, come here. And he was like, yeah. And like I showed him like the pamphlet that I had in my hand, or the brochure or whatever. I was like, Marissa and Craig, and he goes, oh, sorry, I was so focused on pronouncing Wyszomirski right that dude, like, what are we paying this guy?
0 for 2 now.
Jesus Christ, man.
At least you got Melissa right.
Yeah, well, dude, no, he didn't even get Melissa right.
No. Oh,
yeah,
no.
Yeah, dude. So he was like,
Yikes.
3. My name, her name, and our last name. I was like, oh, whatever. Like, we'll just do it again sometime. We'll
Brutal.
See in 5 years.
Yeah. Scrap it.
Yeah,
Come
we'll
back.
We'll be back for the 5-year reunion where we redo the whole thing.
We'll renew our vows, whatever. Take you to Hawaii.
Oh boy. Cam, you got anything?
Oh yeah. So Wiz, I meant to. So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. So a few years ago, you were playing in Manchester, and a certain song was playing, YMCA, and the cameraman caught you doing a little dance. What was it like going viral?
It was fucking bananas. Like, it's honestly.
We are gonna find the video and post it
it'll be
here
in,
while we're
sure.
talking. We're gonna overlap it and let all the people out there see it, and
So all right, the only that I'll say this, that it's way more annoying than you would think. Like, it happened, and like, so the background of it too, I need people to know this because they kind of sewered me with the video, is that on the video it shows the score and stuff, and it says 4-2 Swamp Rabbits winning, obviously, and people are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that during a timeout when you're losing? And like, that's not what happened. Like, the game had been like, it was so hot in Greenville that a chunk of the ice like just melted. There was just a hole in the ice. So they stopped the game for like 40 minutes. So we'd been sitting there for a solid 40 minutes to the point where the refs finally like waved it off. They're like, all right, we're going to cancel this game. We're just waiting on the official word. So they start playing all this music. We're sitting there and stuff. Like, I'm on the ice because I'm going stir crazy. And the ticket guy, it starts dancing. And I was like, so like they start showing him, everyone's laughing, having a good time. So then they put like Billie Jean on, and then they panned to me because I was standing at center ice, and I was like, whoa, I'm not going to not dance. So I just started going. Then YMCA came on, and I was dancing for like a solid minute and a half, but I got off the ice and immediately like got tagged by Barstool, I think Spittin' Chicklets, like ton of like views and all that shit. But it was like to the point where like I would have my phone and I was getting all these push notifications that my phone would just turn off and like die. And I was like, okay, like this kind of sucks. Sick, but like kind of sucks. And then I read the comments too, and I'll never do that again because like guys were like, this kid sucks at dancing. Like some nice, but like people were like, this kid sucks. Like, fuck this kid.
A couple Twitter eggs.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, fuck you guys, man. You ever dance with shot blockers on?
So let's talk about, I don't know what year it was at Merrimack. It was one of the 3 years, we'll say.
I think it was 2014 here, if I got it correct.
Clearly did our research for this episode. But it kind of came down to the wire at the end of the year, and I think you had either it was a home and home or a game against UVM at the end, and if you won that game, you were in the playoffs. If you tied, it was up to other teams, and if you lost, you weren't going to make the playoffs. Kind of, do you remember that at all?
I think I know. Yeah. I remember.
So just talk about, just kind of that kind of opportunity at the college level and what the feelings were going into that game and how cool it was to actually win and make the playoffs going forward.
Well, so weird thing about that game, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we won by a goal. Like, I think it was a 2-1 win, and I'm pretty sure in the first period, all goals were scored in the first period. And if I'm not mistaken, the fire alarm went off mid-game and we scored. And then everyone, because they stopped playing and we scored and they called it a goal. So we ended up winning. And so I think that's how that went.
No way.
Oh yeah. And there was
that's the game that John Leahy was talking
Oh,
about.
John
yeah.
Leahy
Had him
talked
on.
about that story when we had him on.
Yeah, dude. So that was kind of bananas. And then, but at the end of the day, the mindset going in where it's hey, it's all on you. It's make or break. You did your job. You put yourself in a position to make playoffs. Now, let's go out and do it. Let's go see what you got. So everybody's ramped up another notch and stuff. And I think, for it to be a low scoring game like that, I think a lot of games were low scoring in Wallet anyways, but to be able to kind of take that first period and that little bit of adversity, because we had to leave the locker room too. We had to put our shoes on and walk out after that thing. But to come back, mentally lock in and shut it down the whole game, that was cool. It was fun to be a part of too.
Looking here, you guys had an exhibition game at the start of that season against St. FX with a lengthy game. St. FX took multiple penalties late in that game, including a couple of charging calls, a big time interference and whatnot. Take us through that game, because that game kind of got away from you guys pretty quickly, or later on in that game, I should say.
So that was my first game too in a Warriors uniform, and it started off great. First play, one of the first plays of the game, someone passed it up to me. I went D to D, shot it, and we scored. So I was like, oh, college is easy. Easy game. And then that, obviously, judging by my point total, that did not be the case. And yeah, it was just it was one of those where we're playing them, we've got cages on, they had half shields on, and they're calling us pussies, and they're trying to run us. I'm trying to run everybody on their team, back and forth. And it's to the point where I turned to our D coach. I was like, can I take this fucking thing off and kill somebody? And he was like, no, don't.
We don't need suspensions.
Yeah, you'll get suspended. They'll get nothing. So I was like, all right, fuck. So, but I mean, those games they're always fun. When it ramps up like that. But it's in college, it's tough because you can't do anything. Everybody's a tough guy with a cage on. But I guess it is what it is. But it was a blast.
Did that game kind of help pave the way for you going forward, and help when you got to the E, were you kind of prepared because you played in a game like that?
Yeah, a little bit here and there, but I kind of knew fighting was gonna find me, and not that I'm this super savage heavyweight or something, because I'm not. It kind of came to a point where it was I play physical, I hit guys, that is my role, all that stuff. And if you play that way, you have to answer for it. You have to be willing to answer the bell. And I don't like people taking advantage of teammates. That makes my blood boil more than anything. So there was one summer, it was after my rookie year as a pro, where I was okay, I'm gonna actually commit to this. And I did a bunch of boxing, a bunch of jujitsu and stuff. And the Kings had a guy too that you could work with that was sort of worked with Bugard, has his own jujitsu gym pretty much, and really worked with me, taught me a lot. And just because there are some absolute savages out there, just a different breed, and you have to be ready for that. You have to be able to protect yourself, and you win some, you lose some. It happens. But I saw a quote from Brian McGrattan where he's you only lose the fights you don't show up to. So, and I kind of always live by that, where I'll always answer the bell. I'll always protect teammates, but sometimes you don't even need to go looking for it. It just kind of finds you if you play hard enough.
Can you take us through this season? And you were named captain this year, which is a big honor, and then the season stoppage and everything that's going on right now. Can you just take us through this whole experience in Indianapolis?
Yeah, man, it was wild. It was just it was cool because it was a different environment. I didn't know what to expect, and the Coliseum where we played, they pack the shit out of that place, like sold out almost every night. So it was a blast to play in front of them. The fans were unbelievable. And then, you know, cherry on top, ended up getting named captain. And, you know, I had some good mentors, you know, that have sort of prepared me for that role. And I felt like I was ready to take it on, and I was having a blast doing it. We were talking, or, you know, we were really like in a playoff spot. We were good. We were buzzing. We were getting ready to sort of make our push and do some damage. And then, you know, it just kind of sucks. Everything got cut like quick as shit. It happened so quick.
And good segue here. And can you just talk about what Spittin' Chicklets is doing for guys in the ECHL with that fundraising opportunity and stuff like that, and, you know, how cool that is, and, you know, just, you know, how tight knit the hockey community is to kind of push that thing going forward.
Yeah, man. Basically, long story short, I saw, you know, there was a bunch of guys were a little salty because it's like when it happened, there was talk of like, well, I don't think PHPA is like stepping in or anything. I don't think anybody's like going to help. I think we're just on our own. And then my buddy texted me and said, hey, like, check out the newest Chicklets. And I think Biz was saying something about how he's going to do his best to help us. And he ended up putting up a Insta story. So I had actually met Biz. I played with Biz in Ontario for a brief cup of coffee, just a couple games. But, you know, him and I know each other and stuff like that a little bit. I still don't think he knows about that Roxy story, though. But I just sent him a little message like, hey, man, we appreciate the shit out of that. Like, if you need any help, please let me know. And from there, he kind of just asked for my number, and he had called me, and we were just kind of brainstorming a little bit. He was like, here's my idea. Here's what I want to do. Can you sort of be my messenger to the ECHL guys and, like, update them, get as much info from them as you can, like, blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, and that was kind of the extent of it. He kind of took it and ran, and, like, as you know, doing pretty well. I think we've raised over $280,000 alone. And credit to the PHPA too. Like, they stepped up immediately and donated like $200K. Larry Landon and Ryan Krellin at the PHPA, you know, helped us out, got our backs, and everybody sort of stepped up doing their part. I know Indy raised like $25,000 for the pot. Teams are doing 25, 50, like bananas. But it's just cool because, like, that's hockey though, right? Like, one guy goes down, like, we're willing to answer the bell. We'll show up, like, and it's just been awesome. Like, no one asked Biz to do that or Spittin' Chicklets to do that, but because he is who he is, and, you know, not to say hockey players are the best, but, you know, it's pretty fucking cool that hockey players do shit like that to help each other out.
I got to go back to your time up in Manchester. I'm currently quarantined up here as it is, and obviously, you know, I'd kill to go out with the boys for a night out on the town. You got any good stories from your time up here in Manchester? I mean, they call it Manch Vegas for a reason.
Yeah. Oh man, I love Manch Vegas. We've spent many a nights doing like team parties at what's it called now? Whiskey Priest 2.0.
Whiskey 21s.
Whiskey 21
or 20s or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been there a bunch, and then we always end up trying to do karaoke at McGarvey's.
Oh God. I've been there once, and I'm never going back.
Well, so the weird thing is, like, we always get kicked out though. And it's always like, all right, who did what this time? And then I'm not sure I was there, but I'm pretty sure the boys were there one night, and like this giant bouncer got into it with some guy and ended up getting his finger bit off.
Oh my God!
Yeah, which is just a curveball and a fucking half. But I was like, that story came to the locker room the next day, and they were like, "Yeah, dude, like, you know, fucking Hagrid at McGarvey's." They were like, "He got his finger bitten off." What do you mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one story. We tried to keep it low key though, because like I love Manch to death, but it's still like you don't know who you're getting into.
Yeah.
There, you know, like you gotta.
Some specimens.
Oh, yeah. There's some interesting cats.
So talk about, I mean, you briefly touched on the playing with Biz in Ontario. And I mean, for you to go from talking about Wiz Nasty buckled at the Roxy to, when you found out you were going to play with him, what was kind of your first impression? He's this guy on Twitter. He's been in the league. What was kind of your first impression of, all right, I'm going to be playing with this guy?
So he actually was rehabbing. I think he was shut down for the season because he kind of blew both his knees out. So he was rehabbing. I was just kind of excited to get my first AHL, action. And he was just like, he could be like this arrogant guy who like let it all go to his head, but he was just, what you see, like he is who he is. Like he is just kind of like down to earth, good guy. Like there were times where, so I had played 3 games and I ended up actually breaking my hand. So I was rehabbing a little bit with him, and he would like just sit in the training room and like ask me questions and like genuinely be interested, like not just ask to like be, just cause like you should do that. But he was a good guy. I remember we were sitting there on the training room and he was like, "Hey, what's your Instagram name? I'll follow you." And I was like, oh shit. I was like, what the fuck is my Instagram name? Then I gave it to him. He was like, and he followed me. And so that was that. But I never told him the Roxy story, but I think I have a picture actually from that night. And I just look like an idiot. But he was great. He was good to have in the locker room. Like that coach, like, just said, like, you don't find guys like Biz. Like he's a guy who just like boosts morale, and aside from the hockey standpoint and all that stuff, like he's a guy you need in the locker room. So he was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, coming from a couple of hockey guys here, Cameron doesn't listen to it for some odd reason. He calls himself a hockey fan. I mean, I love the Chicklets podcast. I mean, what those guys have done, I mean, they've kind of taken the sport of hockey and put a little bit more of a spotlight on it, just from how they've gone about and carried themselves. I mean, not only you talk about them with the ECHL fund and helping out you guys during all this, but I mean, setting up events for fans and stuff like that. They had a couple of pond hockey tournaments this summer, one in Ontario and one up in Winnipesaukee and stuff like that. It's great to see them. And I think Biz kind of has a lot to do with that, because you talk about how he is as a person. You think he's, a big tough guy, whatever, but he's just there, and he likes to connect with everybody else, like you talk about.
Yeah. And like, that's, so like what you get with Spittin' Chicklets, like not to just pump their tires, but like the cool thing is like hockey players always have this like stigma that like, hey, they're great guys and everything, but like trying to get any personality out of them, it's like, trying to pull teeth. Like they're all just like, yep, same carbon copy answer, same fucking like, yeah, it's all about the team.
Play our game.
It's all about the team. It's like, yeah, okay, can we get some fucking emotion or something? And like, I feel like Spittin' Chicklets is like really sort of the first in-depth look at like, hey, this is what hockey players are like in the locker room, like when they let their hair down. And it's tough. Like I fully understand why guys don't do it more, because you have that, the management and stuff. You don't want to get in trouble. Like, just don't want to fucking rock the boat. I get it. But, awesome for Biz and Wit and RA, like those guys to just like sort of break the barrier and bridge the gap. Because like, I got to be honest with you, I listen to Spittin' Chicklets a good amount. I love when fucking Wit talks about golf or talks about 30 minutes. Like it's great. Like it's just good shit. Or like Biz talks about like going out the night before or whatever. Like that's what it's the best like the hockey players can do, of like showing what a locker room's like, pretty much, to those who haven't had the pleasure. And I've always said the reason a lot of people love the NBA is because of guys like Shaq and Ernie and Chuck and Kenny on TNT. They make it fun. They're funny guys. They're always going at each other. I think Spittin' Chicklets is the first like visual of something like that. And it's cool to see. I think if NHL was smart, they need to pay these guys all the money in the world and get them on a TV and get them doing more.
Especially with how bad the NHL's PR is, I don't think it would be a bad thing to happen.
No. I mean, and it kind of speaks for itself. Like they're already killing it. Like it's just, can you get them away from Barstool? Probably not, but
No.
I mean, who knows?
Well, let's talk about the future and what things are looking like for not only you, but the rest of the sports world here. How have things kind of progressed? I mean, obviously this season's been completely scrapped. We're still waiting on word whether the rest of the professional sports across the country and around the world are going to be coming back anytime soon. But how do you kind of carry yourself and look ahead with some optimism when there's so many questions about, are we going to play? Where are we going to play? Are there going to be people there to watch? How do you kind of handle that on top of just making sure that you and your wife and family and friends are all staying safe and healthy during all this?
I mean, yeah, that's the tough part. And I think that's why it's scary, because you don't know. Like I think the best thing you can do, obviously, is just kind of take it sort of checkpoint to checkpoint where, like, they're saying May 4th or whether it's May 15th, whatever it is, and you just kind of see where everybody's at that date. And then, like the good part is they would never be like, okay, season starts tomorrow and like be in shape, like all this stuff. It'll be like, hey, like if they do come back, which my personal opinion, I don't think we see hockey till next season. They'll give you time to get in shape and all that stuff, but you gotta there's no reason to risk playing if you're not going to be healthy, your family's not going to be healthy. Like it's a real thing, and you just got to kind of grin and bear it and keep yourself as busy as possible. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks not having playoff hockey around, especially when the weather's getting nice and everything too. And like having that NHL on NBC, like just, all that, like the bracket and shit, like it sucks. Like that's the only way to put it.
Now, Wiz, we talked about spitting chicklets podcast, but I mean, your set of chicklets here is pretty much back to normal. How can you just bring us through, the idea of losing teeth in hockey and being that stereotypical hockey player, and just maybe take us through a story of taking a stick or a puck or whatever it was to the face and losing a couple chicklets.
Yeah, so when I was out in Surrey, I hit a kid at center ice, and like the impact of like hitting him, like he kind of put his head forward and it just like cracked this whole front tooth. And then a week later, I ended up taking a one-timer off the mouth, like point blank, like just a flapper right here. And like, so the tooth was dead and gone. They ended up pulling it. And then this whole like side of my mouth was just stitched up. So I was kind of a gong show for like a month there. And then I started like the bone in the gum like started to deteriorate and stuff. So they're like, all right, we got to like fix it. And so they put the thing up there. Like all I know is like my wife is very happy that I have all my teeth now, and we got it done before my wedding. So that was big. But yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Like you don't feel it at first, and then like when you get hit in the face with a puck or a helmet or stick, it just comes rushing in, and you're just like, oh. And you want to stay down, but you're like, all right, all the nail guns stand up and skate off. And I remember our trainer was like, oh, Wiz, just stay down. Like we'll get you off. And I was like, nah, I gotta fucking do this because everything's like, so I'm like holding the fucking towel
your mouth together,
walking off, getting stitched up in West Kelowna in the BCHL, and I was just like, what am I fucking doing?
Well, Wiz, you talked about being a Ranger fan growing up. You still a Ranger fan now, even though despite spending a lot of time up in New England as during your college days and then playing in the E, who do you root for now? Who do you like to see?
So my dad was a giant Ranger fan, and then I would say I was actually a big Ducks fan because I, for some reason, thought Paul Correa and Charlie Conway were the same person. So I watched the movies, and then one day, like my dad put a Ducks game on for some reason. I was like, oh my God, it's the same people. Like, he wasn't going to tell me different. So I was actually a giant Ducks fan. And I remember like crying my eyes out when they lost to New Jersey in 7. And then I was always a Ducks fan pretty much. Then they won the cup. And like, once they won the cup and like changed their jerseys and everything, I was kind of like, I was getting older and I was like, then I started more so just following players where I was like, I want to see how these guys are playing and stuff. But I would say now I think I root for I've got a decent amount of friends on the Kings and in that affiliate system. So I think I'd like to see the Kings do well. See those guys, do their thing.
You talk about some of the guys that, you've seen up in the NHL. Who are some names that maybe people would be or who are some names that people should be on the lookout for coming up through that King system?
Oh yeah. Kings got some really good young guys. So they've got this one guy who's a fucking nail guy. He's he's probably the toughest guy I think I've ever skated next to in my life. Like the scariest dude of all time. His name's Curtis McDermott, and he's just, he's a guy after my own heart. Just simple, stay-at-home defenseman. Like throws the weight around, does the heavy lifting, but he throws fucking bombs, man. Like scary. They've got some good forwards too. Guy Mike Amadio, really skilled, was having a really good year this year. Matt Luff. One of my buddies in Ontario who's, making his way. And another D-man, Cale Clegg. Like his first name is actually Cale, like Cale.
Like Cale McCarr?
No, like Cale the salad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With a K.
He's nasty though. I'll give him that. I'll give him fucking that. He is fucking good. And he was my D partner too in Ontario for a bit and bailed me out of a lot.
Made you look a little bit better, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Can you just
let him take the puck.
Can you just kind of speak to what it was like playing out in Ontario? I mean, hockey out in California hasn't been around for all that long. I mean, there's still times. I mean, yeah, you had the Sharks, the Kings won their 2 cups, the Ducks have one. What's it like playing out in that kind of a market where maybe you think about basketball or football being the number one priority sport out there?
It's almost like not real life because, like, being on the East Coast pretty much my whole life besides that 1 year in the BC, like I was living in Venice, practicing 10 minutes away, whatever, and then we'd commute to Ontario for our games. But like take a walk outside after practice and you're done for the day and it's like 85 and sunny and you could go to Hermosa Beach or Venice Beach and it's like what? Like what? Like what did I do to deserve this? Like why am I here? But it was one of the most fun. It was one of the best years of my life, just from a wow standpoint of like where I would walk out the door and just kind of like look up and be like, man, this is like if it ends tomorrow and I don't play another game, like this is fucking cool. Like this was sick. But like I had a blast and I really love that organization. I have nothing but good things to say about the Kings, the Ontario Reign, and Manchester from top to bottom. Just good fucking people.
Craig, are you a big video game guy by any chance? You play like NHL, stuff like that?
I dabble a little bit. I'm not a big NHL guy.
Call of Duty.
Because I was going to ask, like, do you ever play as yourself in the game and then, like –
No, I got a cringeworthy story though. My nieces and nephews found out I was in the game and they wanted to play as me. So before they came over, I bumped my stats up.
Nice.
I think I was like a fucking 60 or something. I was like, well, fuck this. Like, that's
Wait, did you do it or did you get the biz bump from Chicklets?
I wish, dude. I didn't get shit. I didn't do it myself. They were like, I was like skating a 52. Like, fuck you. But yeah, so I don't dabble too much with NHL. I was big into like Rory, like the golf games and stuff.
Yeah. I
was a big NBA 2K guy. I kind of fell off with that, and now I've been crushing Warzone a little bit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
All right. When we get off, we're gonna have to swap gamer tags here so we can get a good squad rolling out in Warzone.
Yeah, man. Just coach me. I'm coachable. That's it.
All right. Me and
How
Connor
you got any wins yet?
Dubs under our belt.
I took 5th yesterday with my buddy, and it was like me and him and like our other guy just fucked off. We were playing with whoever, and he died immediately and didn't want to come back. He didn't go into the gulag or anything, just quit. So 5th is my best so far.
All right, we'll get you to the promised land.
I got a 2nd place finish last night, and I was very disappointed that I couldn't take it all away.
That's awful.
It's devastation.
It's so much time and effort
stuff.
to like get nothing.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And then you see that little cutscene at the end with them getting in the helicopter, and you're like,
you're like,
that was almost me.
And you're like, I was the last asshole that got killed to give you guys the win, so you guys are welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Or like try having your wife like walk by and just like see you with a headset on and like playing and like screaming fuck, and she's just like, "Are you serious?
It's a video game, guy. Relax."
Fucking 27. Like, chill. I was like, fuck.
Always, we can't thank you enough for your time here. Where can people find you on social media to connect and follow you there and stay up to date on, whether it's playing days or, ways to maybe help out with proceeds to go to the ECHL fund or whatnot?
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, I think that's pretty much all I have. I got Facebook, but I'm not on it. But Instagram and Twitter is at BigWiz17, BIGWIZ17. The link for the ECHL Player Relief Fund is the first pinned tweet in my Twitter. The link is long. It's in there. If you want to donate or help out in any way possible, we would really appreciate it, to help the guys that have families or babies on the way or getting married or living paycheck to paycheck and relying on at end of the year money. If we can help them in any way, that would be unbelievable. And if not, just spreading awareness about it and sort of bringing it up would be cool too. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate the time here this afternoon, and best of luck moving forward. From the Indy Fuel, the captain, Craig Wyszomirski, joining us here on Titletown Takes. We'll be back after this. All right, huge thanks to Craig Wyszomirski, or a.k.a. Wiz.
Big Wiz.
Big Wiz. That was a great interview, fellas. Got to thank Sean. Tip of the cap to Sean for helping us set that one up. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, fellas. What are your thoughts before we throw it over to Sean, who's got a good Wiz story for us?
It was great. I mean, just get some more insight on the ECHL and the AHL. I mean, those guys have some stories to tell, especially like we got some good travel ones from both of these guys. I mean, the stories are endless with guys playing in the E. So it was good to get some insight, and it was we got a good couple Warzone games with Wiz after the interview too. So
We did.
Still got to get that dub.
Couldn't get him a dub, but he
We'll
ended up getting one later on that day.
Yeah, but yeah, it was great. Good dude, that Wiz.
Wickers.
I like the story about how his little cousins were coming over and they wanted to play as him in NHL, and he looked at his stats.
Oh,
he was like a 50.
Yeah.
So he bumped his stats up. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, Cooch, what do you got? Give us a good Wiz story.
All right, so I want to tell you guys the story of that Vermont weekend. But before that, it was actually everything I got to say is that Vermont weekend. Then that night they clinched and got the home ice for like the first time since DaCosta was there. It's like in 2 or 3 years. First time getting home ice. That night was probably the funnest night in the world at the hockey house. Everyone was going crazy. You just saw the entire campus like lined up going outside the door. It was incredible. Wiz was at the door. So Wiz let me in. Him and Titcomb let me in. I go back to drop off my bag in Wiz's room. And Wiz is like, Cooch, how many people are out there? I'm like, easily over 100. He's like, Jesus Christ, I thought I don't even know 100 people. It was just like one of those really like fun nights.
Perks of being a D1 hockey program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like everyone was just having a blast. Couldn't have asked for a better night with the guys.
Love it.
So this is where it gets crazy for that weekend. So Friday night I was working up in the press box. Going into Friday night, It was Vermont at 7 with 15 points, UNH at 8 with 14 points, Mac at 9th with 13 points, UConn and Maine both at 12 at 10, 11. UNH had to go on the road to UConn. Vermont had to come to Mac. And this is the old format, so 7 and 8 both get home ice for the first round. Maine unfortunately had Northeastern that year. So, and may I remind you, the top 6 were all ranked nationally in Hockey East that year. BC 5, Providence 3, Notre Dame 13, UMass Lowell 8, BU 11, Northeastern 14. So
I forgot that year Hockey East was
Stacked.
loaded.
that year was just terrifying for whoever you had to go to. So I was up working with our boy Aliano.
Nice.
I was doing the goalie goal horn. The boys won. Everyone was scoreboard watching that night, and UNH lost to UConn. So that put the seeding at Vermont at 15, Merrimack and UNH tied at 14, UConn at 14, and Maine at 12. Merrimack against UNH was 1-0-1 that year. No, it was 0-1-1 that year. UConn, they tied UConn twice. So they didn't have a prayer at getting in unless everything worked out. Saturday night, it was senior night, and one of the seniors was nice enough to give me and my parents tickets because they got extras. So I was sitting there with Craig's family, the girlfriends of everybody else, all the families, whatever. We're all just hanging there. Of course, I have my phone out. We're scoreboard watching all night. We're keeping a close eye on that UConn UNH game. So throughout the night, it was 0-0 going into the third period. We were all like, holy crap, like what's going to happen? UConn was up at this point. So that gave everyone like a little bit okay. Like it's pretty much on the boys now. And so you got the first Merrimack goal coming at in 4:06. That would be 15:54.
15. Yeah, correct.
15:54. You got a goal from Gustafson, Hampus, and everyone's just like, "All right, we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this." UConn and UNH go final. UConn wins. So we start celebrating a little bit. I look up and I actually see Aliano smiling. Chris is on the computer. I looked up. I'm trying to see him. I think me and him made eye contact. He just starts smiling. I'm like, all right, there's hope. Later on that game, UVM pulls the goalie, pucks down in the Merrimack end. Delia's in net. So you're like, oh, come on, Colin. You got this. Deals held it up. Ben Baugh, the senior who gave me the tickets in my family, goes down, dumps in the empty netter. That place went wild. Merrimack hockey finally got back home ice for the playoffs.
What a story. Love that.
Then, of course, they go on to beat Maine 2-1. I mean, UNH 2-1. Incredible. After losing the first game. So that's something that that's something I taught them about. I'm like, how would you guys do this after going down after the first game?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of set you on fire? Because those last 2 weekends, they had to win out, essentially, and they did their job. And they got that home ice.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Little Merrimack lore for you.
Yeah.
He talked about that weekend, too. That was,
Crazy. As classic Hockey East weekend as you're going to get.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like this year, right? It came down to the final game of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So,
dude, even if you just flip over to the women's side, you had 1, 6, 7, 8 in the playoffs in the Hockey East finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who the heck would think BC, BU, BC, BU, and I think it was Providence.
Yeah.
Who would have thought all three of those teams would lose in Hockey East?
Yep.
In
Crazy.
a series.
Never know.
Then UConn got destroyed in the final.
In 9-1, was it?
Oh,
It was 9-1, yeah.
Yeah.
That was something.
Heard Tarzan boy 9 times.
10 times I played it accidentally on one of them, and then I flipped it over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
All right.
No, that was the other game. My bad.
Let's keep trucking along here. We're coming close to time here. We want to get over to the fifth edition of Cam's Corner.
Coach's Corner with
Cameron Urbowicz.
brought to you by Moore's Clothing for Men. Well made, well priced, well dressed.
Thank you very much, Ian. How we doing, everybody? Time for the fifth edition of Camp's Corner. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. Not much has changed over this past week. There's been no Bundesliga, no nothing like that. That's tomorrow. But there were some American sports this week. We had a midweek race at Darlington Speedway. On Tuesday night, they had the Toyota 500K at Darlington Speedway, the second race held there that week. It was on Wednesday. The race was actually really good. They inverted the field from the original starting position, so whoever finished in first started in 20th, and then they went on back as you go, which, when the race-winning car goes from the first pit stall to the one in the middle, that changes strategy. You got to be careful on what you're trying to do. The race was actually really good. Unfortunately, it wasn't on Fox. It was on FS1, but the race was very entertaining all around. Clint Boyer won the first two stages, so Dave Portnoy's got some airtime on that. Even though the Barstool scheme wasn't on the car, he's got to be pleased that his driver did really well. He fell off in the final stage, and we'll get into that. But the real controversy of that whole race was near the end. Rain's coming, so drivers are going to get aggressive. Some guys were staying out when they probably wouldn't have under normal circumstances. Just try to get a good finish position, try to catch the rain when you're in a good spot or even in the lead. Denny Hamlin, who won the Daytona 500, he was leading as the race was ticking down to about 30 to go, 35 laps to go. Chase Elliott, my driver, is in second. He's running down Hamlin at a pretty decent rate. He was probably actually going to pass him. And then you got Kyle Busch in third. And they were battling out, and, they're all going for the win because, you want to win because you're back at the track for the first time in quite a long time. And Elliott comes off the corner with Busch behind him, and Busch was trying to make the pass but didn't have the space. And Busch got in the back of Elliott, got on this quarter panel, and spun him down into the not even the grass. There's no grass, but spun him down to the apron. He hit the wall, and then the rain came. So Denny Hamlin wins a rain-shortened Toyota 500K at Darlington Speedway. Denny Hamlin first, Kyle Busch second, Kevin Harvick third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Eric Jones fifth, Joey Logano sixth, Eric Almirola seventh, Jimmy Johnson eighth, Matt DiBenedetto ninth, and then Martin Truex Jr. rounding out your top 10. Chase Elliott would not be fined or suspended for his your number one signal towards Kyle Busch after the wreck.
Freedom Rockets, baby.
Freedom
Rockets.
Kyle and Chase have discussed the incident. Apparently, they're both past it. But with the next race coming up, it's a long race, Coke 600. We'll see how much if feelings can stay out of the way for that.
There's going to be some carryover.
That's what we need. Some rivalries in NASCAR. We need people to start watching. We need people to start fighting and getting a little angry at each other because that draws in fans.
Tempers flare in NASCAR. I feel like it would be great.
Yep. Next
we
race.
We haven't had a good NASCAR rivalry since Ricky Bobby and Jean Girard.
The next race is the Coca-Cola 600 Memorial Day weekend, Saturday night, 6 o'clock on Fox. It's going to be definitely strange because going into the Coke 600, you have two great races before that. You have Monaco in the morning, and then you have the Indy 500 around noontime, and that leads right into the Coke 600. So with those two races not happening, it's definitely going to be a little weird because that kind of sets up the storyline because, everyone's talking about, oh, this driver did this, and then, some of these guys have the same car owner, and you're like, oh, it'll be great if, that guy could do as well as this guy or what have you. and it's definitely going to be weird. But I'm happy that the memorial, it's a great Memorial Day tradition. I'm happy it's going on, and just for continuity's sake, Ian took this week in the race because it's a 20th place. But Austin Dillon had the highest finish.
Let's go.
Connor's guy, Matt Kenseth, finished in 30th, and then Chase Elliott was potentially on his way to a victory.
Cameron.
He comes
Suck
home in
it, Cam.
39th place for Chase Elliott. So Ian takes this week. It's been so long, I don't remember what the scoreboard is, but I'm sure I'll sit down at some point. I think Ian's in first. I'm in last. I know I'm in last.
I'm definitely in first.
It's like Ian's up by 1. I'm right in the middle, and then Cameron, you're like 2 behind Ian. So it's pretty close.
That's that's your NASCAR recap. That's Cam's Corner, and Ian, back to you.
Just on a quick recap note here with Cam talking about Memorial Day weekend and it usually being the Indy 500 and the Monaco Grand Prix. It also would have been championship weekend for lacrosse.
Oh.
Yesterday would have been the D1 semifinals. Tomorrow would be the national championship games.
Merrimack would have been.
Yeah.
I know they couldn't, but they would have been.
Yeah. And also,
I forgot something in Cam's Corner, but I'll go back to it in a minute.
Also, just to pass along some news, guest of the pod, former Merrimack Warrior, now Charlie Bertrand, announced that he is transferring from Merrimack. He's using his grad year transfer, and he's going down to play some lacrosse at the University of Virginia. Go Wahoos. I've been a big Wahoo lacrosse fan ever since.
Now you got more of a reason to watch.
Early 2000s. Always been a big Virginia Cavalier lacrosse fan. So excited to see Charlie. Hope he does well.
You got some crazy teams.
Wish him the best, dude. Virginia lacrosse was nasty back in the day.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying you're bored of teams and colleges. Crazy, but I love it.
It's all right. You need
all over the board.
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm just saying. Definitely a little bit weird.
Hey, it is what it is.
Wickers, what do you need to add here?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't mention it because it wasn't in the Cup Series, but I'd like to give a quick shout-out to Chase Briscoe. He won the Busch race yesterday. His wife just had a miscarriage, so it's great to see him go out and win a race for not only her but his family as well. Just great for him. So just wanted to give that quick shout-out.
All right, Cam, you're just sad.
Cam's going to turn the emotion on.
Hey,
Cameron.
All right, fellas. I think that that about does it. It's time for the most anticipated part of the show. Connor, what time is it?
It's time for Bag of Fun. Everybody's ready for Bag of Fun. Question of the quarantine. Sean Kucharski, what do we got?
All right, boys.
Sean, just before you go, again, another tip of the cap. He comes prepared. He had this already in the back of his mind, ready to go. Compliments to him for that because he's helping us out. We were stuck. We didn't know what to do with this. So, Shauno, good on you.
I want to take this one, and I want to make you guys pick because I know we're all big sports fans here, cover all different sports. Cam covering the NASCAR. So, my question for you guys is, if you guys could go into a hot tub time machine and go to one sporting event ever, what sport are you taking, and what event are you taking?
See? Kucharski, you know what you're doing around here, man.
Oh, come on. I'll go. That's easy.
Okay.
Hockey, 1980, U.S. Soviets.
That's the easy answer.
Yeah, that's the easy answer. If I had to pick another one.
That's such a cop-out answer.
If I had to pick another one, the Atlanta Super Bowl for the Patriots.
It's a good one.
All right, you know what? Fine. Pick 2, just because I have 2 now.
2, okay.
I'll go U.S. Soviets, Patriots, Falcons. I would love to be there for that comeback.
Okay.
Wick?
I'll take a game I'll take an event that I've actually attended and then one that I didn't. I'd love to go back and 04 Daytona 500 when Junior won. I mean, I was 6 when I was there. And I didn't really appreciate it, so
that's fair.
I'm sure I would appreciate it more now. What do you mean?
You were there?
Yeah, I was there.
So you'd go back in a time machine now and watch yourself? Watch the event?
Sure, why not?
You
Okay.
definitely got out of all the games you can go back and see. U.S.
I
Soviets,
knew-
you got to do this.
All right.
That's
And-
crazy to me.
Alright,
And
yeah.
then one game I didn't attend. I'd love to be in Vancouver for Game 7. I'll be hanging out with Whitey Bulger. That'd be a time
At the Roxy, baby.
Yeah.
because he was there.
Shout out Biz and Wiz.
Mm-hmm. Biz and Wiz, baby. For me, I would go to Bobby Orr's goal. I'd go to that game.
Okay.
And then, there's a lot of good ones out there, boys. Lots of good ones. I think just historically, it would be really cool to go watch Wayne Gretzky break the points record.
The points record or the goals record?
Goals record's probably more impressive, right?
So when he played with the Kings
Yeah, I
and did
think
it,
so.
Yeah. Is
I don't
that
know
the – yeah. I think
when
that would,
the Gary Thorne call?
Yeah.
to Gretzky. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be super cool to be at because, I mean, we're looking at Ovi might break it, but probably maybe not. So I think that would be super cool.
I think Ovi breaks it.
But yeah, I think the Bobby Orr one is like the big one to go to. I think that'd be sick.
That's such a Bruins fan answer, but I respect it just because it's such like an iconic moment in hockey.
That's not even Bruins fan, man. That's NHL lore, man.
That's true. So I have a question for mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you guys don't want me to go to baseball. You guys want me to split it up?
You can go
You can do it.
whatever you want.
I can do
went
whatever I want.
NASCAR, for God's
Connor
sake.
did 2 hockey.
All right. So my number one, just because we're coming up on good old one of the 2 most American days ever, I'm going to take me back to 2001. George Bush throwing out the first pitch after 9/11.
Oh, Game 3 of the World Series.
That was a good game too.
I am taking that 100%.
I
Second one.
That was a hell of a game too, because
I know.
that was when the Yankees walked it off their 3 home games in that series.
Mhm.
That series. So
Like everything just lined up perfectly in that.
Yeah.
game. Second one. Oh, this is a Sean Kucharski hot take special.
oh,
Give me Barry Bonds breaking the home run record and him going right into the Hall of Fame right after that game like he deserves.
Okay. I changed my I wouldn't go see Gretzky's. I would go to the 01 Super Bowl because then I could see U2 do the halftime performance too. That's but yes, I think seeing the Barry Bonds home run would be sick. Imagine, but you could go back and pick a seat to where he hit the home run too.
I think that went in the water, didn't it? Or
No.
did that not go in the water?
Because
No,
that's
it
one
went
of my
to
favorite baseball
straight away
shots.
like center field.
It was
Sean,
like
can you tell me,
50
Sean-
people.
Sean, can you tell me who gave up that home run?
Why do I want to say it's someone I should definitely know?
It's not. He was a journeyman.
Oh, then
His
I don't know.
father also gave up a home run to Hank Aaron when he was going to break the record. He gave up 754.
I mean, okay, who was it, Cam? I'm
It was
curious.
Mike Bassick.
Bassick.
Who is
Yep.
that?
He was the starter for that game. It was a no decision, and the Giants actually lost that game. Nobody talks about
They
that.
weren't playing to win that game. They were playing for the record.
All I'm saying is that if you're gonna let that happen during the game, you automatically have to let the Giants win.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just
Well, they stopped the game for like a 30-minute ceremony.
as they should, and the guy should be in the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame right now.
I agree.
I,
Steroids saved baseball.
steroids,
Goddamn right they did.
They need to bring them back.
steroids literally brought baseball to the pinnacle of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because they don't want anyone doing steroids, which I understand it's a health risk, probably shouldn't be doing them. They're trying to juice the balls, but they're denying they're juicing the balls, which is the part that's bothering me.
Mhm.
Well, they denied steroids too. So
Fair enough.
whatever makes baseball more fun. That's what I'm up for.
Make baseball fun again.
Damn straight.
All right, fellas, anything else?
No, that pretty much does it on my end. If you
Yeah.
guys are
All right.
Thanks, Wiz, for joining the podcast. Coach, thanks for joining us as well.
No problem, boys.
Great to have you. It's good to have a hot take for once because we've been dry as hell with our hot takes.
Yeah, well,
Because there's nothing going on.
All right, so my final hot take to end the podcast for you guys.
Yep.
If I could start a draft and I had the first overall pick, I'm taking Bryce Harper 100 out of 100 times over Mike Trout. That's my hot take to end this.
Wow.
Maybe
That's spicy.
more hot than the first one you made.
That's like
That's a
sriracha
spicy
hot
take.
right there.
Yeah.
That's going in the intro.
I'm picking character, baby.
Okay.
I want a guy with a character and a guy who can ball rather than.
I don't think
I'd
take. I don't know if I'd take Trout number 1. I would take maybe Juan Soto number 1. Or Acuna.
Future-wise, they both could pass Trout in productiveness, so I'll give that to you.
I'll
Absolutely.
take Acuna. I like Acuna more than I like Soto.
Connor's just over there. It's thinking I don't know baseball. Just end this conversation for me.
Connor's taking.
Connor's like, let's get the hell out of
Connor's
here.
taking his favorite player, Xander Bogaerts.
Oh, God.
All right, like Connor said, big shout out to Wiz for joining us. Big shout out to Sean hopping on 4th chair today. It was a different perspective having 4 of us instead of 3.
It's nice.
Well,
So
thanks, Connor.
Sean, thanks for
Thank you, Sean.
No
thanks for
problem,
having
boys.
us on.
Anything for you guys.
And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. We'll talk to you guys later on in the week. For Cam Urbowicz, Connor Powell, my name's Ian Beauchesne. Lights out. Good night.
I'm gonna tell you a story.